Hello everybody, welcome back to the Retrospect Lounge. About a month ago, I did a video on the top 10 worst Disney Channel shows of the 2000s. Well, thankfully I'm back today to do the best. But before we get into anything, as usual, I just want to state that this is just my opinion. The above all, nothing else matters, definite truth, facts actually, not even so much my opinion, they're really just cold hard facts. Yes, indubitably. No, but I just want to say that this is my opinion. You know, it's not the actual definite top 10 based on viewer count, ratings, or anything of that nature. It's just the shows that I feel like I connected with the most as I reflect and look back today. So, sorry to say, but Even Stevens is not going to make it on my list. Only because it was literally just before my time as a Disney Channel connoisseur. Anyway, enough jibber jabber, let's get started. Number 10, Sunny with a Chance. This was the show that basically launched Demi Lovato's short-lived career as an actress, and it was also the show that killed that career. But, on the other hand, it did also help launch her career as a musician during and shortly after. This sitcom focused on Sunny Monroe, a small-town girl who moved to Los Angeles after she becomes part of the cast of a popular live sketch comedy show called So Random. During the show, we follow her and her castmates as they get into various antics and ludicrously dramatic situations with each other. Many of these plotlines and episodes also involve the cast of a rival soap opera show called Mackenzie Falls, which starred Chad Dylan Cooper.
Well then tell Santiago, I want people to know me for who I am.
And I want people to know me for who I'm not.
Something I never understood is why these two shows were rivals. One is a sketch comedy series, and one is a dramatic soap opera. You know, even weirder is the fact that I'm pretty sure they were even on the same network within the series. The fuck? That's like SNL and Days of Our Lives being rivals. Come on now. Come on now. Anyway, Sunny with a Chance will always have a special place in my heart, as both this and Jonah's are two shows that I watched consistently with my younger brother throughout the summer of 2009, which was a pretty tough summer for the both of us, so this memory and these two shows, you know, including Jonah's, really stick with me after all these years. This show was honestly made possible by a previous Disney Channel series from the 90s with a similar concept titled The Famous Jet Jackson. And both of these series honestly paved the way for another show that was really a show within the show kind of concept. That being Shake It Up. Oh, okay, well that's real great, because that series was a dreadfully excruciating pile of shit. Number 9, Lizzie McGuire.
She didn't used to be that way. I mean, she plays the oboe. Oboe players aren't supposed to be violent. It's the bra. Ever since she started wearing one, she's become a whole new person.
This was one of the original and most classic of Disney Channel sitcoms. This was a show that stayed interesting with both funny and emotional moments without throwing any over-the-top gimmicks or bullshit in the mix. Lizzie McGuire follows a teenage girl played by Hilary Duff as she tries to make it through some of the most awkward years of her life, junior high school. All while dealing with and coping with the usual drama of being a tween, such as conflict with other girls, relationships, typical school responsibilities, and of course, a whack-ass family. Come on, everyone's got one. I can't wink, I'm sorry. Having the animated persona that displayed Lizzie's thought process and emotions was an interesting addition to the show because it helped the viewer understand what she was going through without any useless exposition from the character herself. A smart take from the creators, really. This truly was a series that could connect with tween girls and truthfully showed us the whirlwind of being that age as a girl without going too over the top. Something that most modern Disney Channel shows fail at. Number 8, Kim Possible. While most of the best animated series were no doubt on Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon, this was an example of a time when Disney Channel truly shined with their animated series. This show brought us the badass bitch cheerleader spy, Kim Possible. Hence, the show's title.
time to have a femme de ronde talk.
It is?
We want Kim to be happy.
We do.
If not, it's a one-way ticket on a deep space probe.
How deep?
Black hole deep, Ronald.
With creative villains, technology, and plot lines, this show gave new light to the idea of what an animated superhero show can and should be. It was something different than the norm that you might have found on shows like Justice League. Along with the action and adventure, the series also focused on the turbulence of being a teenager, especially one that had a secret. You know, like being a spy. And because of this, in the later seasons, we were introduced to more technology as it would have progressed in the world that this show takes place in. Pretty cool. Also, in later seasons, plotlines and ideas involving feminism were explored as well, which was something super cool, as most other kids shows at the time wouldn't go as in-depth with these kind of ideas. At the time that this show began, we didn't expect much, but we were given a lot, as it became insanely popular, and the show itself still holds up to this day, which is probably why this is happening. What in the fuck? Number 7, Wizards of Waverly Place.
That's weird, right? It's really weird.
Today, Selena Gomez is a massive pop star who's pretty well known for her music, as well as being my good friend's wife. You know who you are. And her career may have started on Barney and Friends, but this series is what actually launched her career and led it to where it is today. Wizards of Waverly Place followed 3 siblings who learn magic and are competing to become the family wizard of their generation. This plot alone leads to many misadventures and complications within their everyday lives. Many of the plot lines in the show followed how the siblings would use magic to manipulate events to work out in their favor, which often would provide a lot of comedy for the series as well. At the same time, the kids would try to do anything in their favor to keep their secrets of being wizards hidden as well.
The next all-powerful Russo family wizard is admitting defeat? I'm confused here.
During the time that this show was on, it won 3 Emmy Awards, which was extremely rare for a Disney Channel series, and it became massively popular and adored over the course of its 4-season run. This was something that wasn't just an average kids sitcom. It ended up being something truly special. It even holds the record for the most watched Disney Channel series finale of all time, with 10 million viewers. Impressive. Number 6, Phineas and Ferb.
Psycho, I'm calling Mom. And I am not using the banana this time.
You guys heard that, right? It wasn't just me?
The plot of Phineas and Ferb was simple enough and didn't seem like much, but it was a series that ended up being so fun. It followed 2 creative and imaginative brothers who made inventions or found exciting ways to spend each day of their summer vacation. Meanwhile, every episode, their pet platypus Perry, who was secretly a secret agent, would face off against a batshit crazy scientist.
Hey, where's Perry?
Phineas and Ferb is honestly one of the rare exceptions in superb Disney Channel animated programming. It was extremely successful from the beginning. It was innovative, had fun music, good writing, and stayed consistent over the course of its run, earning itself an Emmy nomination at one point as well. Something I always personally enjoyed were the pop culture references, which were always a treat, making it a show that both children and adults could find enjoyment in.
Jolly good, boys. I am a bit peckish.
Maybe there's some pie left.
Number 5, Phil of the Future. Phil of the Future. Na, he's from the future. This was the first live-action Disney Channel series that I ever watched, and it's still one of my favorites even today. The plot centered around a family from the 22nd century who were stranded in the year 2004 until they could get their time machine working again. The Diffie family consisted of 2 parents, 2 children, and their pet caveman? Pet caveman. We're bordering on slavery a little bit there, so I guess that's back in the future. Yikes. From the beginning, this family was just completely confused at the technologically challenged 21st century world that they were stuck in, and due to the great writing of the characters and wacky plot lines, this made for a very entertaining and overly comical series. One of my favorite parts of this show when I was a kid was Ali Mashaka. But hell, that's for obvious reasons. Anyway, the real gem of the series was absolutely the principal, who was probably one of the funniest characters in the show, especially considering he also played the pet caveman, Curtis. Unfortunately, Phil the Future only lasted 2 seasons, which I remember being super bummed out about at my ripe age of 9 years old when it was cancelled. Looking back, it really was a shame that this show was off the air so quickly, since it was such a treat. Of course, I'd love to see the show end up on a streaming platform or even back on TV in rerun form, but honestly, we probably won't see that happen anytime soon. Oh, and one more thing. The use of comical sound effects 16 Candles style.
I hear where you're coming from, and I can totally roll with that, but what do you say we dial it down a notch, eh?
Hilarious. Number 4. The Sweet Life on Deck. In 2008, the Sprouse twins were bigger than ever. Their days of playing Ross Geller's son and friends or the role of Julian and Big Daddy were over. But after 3 years of starring as title characters in The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, Disney Channel decided to pull the plug on what was perhaps the network's most popular series of the time. But luckily for us, the fun of these two twin brothers didn't end there, as they ended up both starring in a spin-off series shortly after. Following the original series was a tough thing to do, but somehow The Sweet Life on Deck brought back that original charm and a lot of what we loved about the original series. This series followed the twin brothers as they took their high school education to Seven Seas High via the SS Tipton, a cruise ship that was ran by the same company that ran the hotel they originally lived in. Some of the new cast included staff at the cruise ship as well as students of Seven Seas High School. It was a shame that we lost a lot of the best characters of the original show like Maddie, Esteban, and Arwen, but luckily they all came back for guest appearances here and there.
And a sprig, just a sprig, of fresh mint. Sure that'll wake me up? Definitely.
For years, I preferred The Sweet Life on Deck over the original show, but honestly, looking back now, that's definitely not the case. Now don't worry, we'll talk about the original in just a bit. Number 3, Hannah Montana.
Thank you so much for this incredible honor. And it means even more knowing that it's coming from the good folks in Nashville, the place that I'm proud to call my hometown. Hooray, Nashville!
Hannah Montana was probably the biggest pop star of this era, even outside of the television series alone. She was just massive in every way. Her fame and popularity even outshined comedy legend Larry David.
It's Hannah Montana!
But he's Larry David. He created Seinfeld and Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Sorry!
I actually knew a guy in 4th grade who owned all of her CDs secretly, but I mean, we all knew. Nothing to be ashamed of, man. Be proud. Be proud. Honestly though, Hannah Montana was a true guilty pleasure for a lot of guys growing up who, although didn't want to admit it at the time, including myself, really loved it. It followed the daily life of Miley Stewart, an average girl who was secretly the teen pop sensation Hannah Montana. And throughout the series, we saw all her struggles as she attempted to live this double life. Although Miley was the true star of the show, her dad and brother, played by her real-life father Billy Ray Cyrus and Jason Earls, were probably my personal favorite part of it.
Sorry, Dad. Only care if I'm in trouble.
Number 2, That's So Raven.
Hey, Ray, your boot's back! That is not my boot!
That's So Raven was another Disney sitcom that brought something new to the table. In this series, Raven Baxter could see into the future.
This must be the future!
Alongside Raven in her everyday adventures was her family, along with her best friends Eddie and Chelsea. In each episode, her friends would help her either prevent or fulfill the prophecies that Raven's visions would entail. Most of these occurrences had to do with many of the turbulent trials that being a teenager would create. That's So Raven is still the highest rated Disney Channel series of all time, and it had over 100 episodes, which you don't see too often with a kids sitcom. It even led to the launch of a spin-off series called Cory in the House, which, if you remember from my top 10 worst Disney Channel shows of the 2000s episode, was a fucking mess. Now the number 1 choice here should come as no shock. I've already referenced and partially discussed it earlier in this same exact video. And, you know, it's this one. It's definitely the show that I have the fondest memories of watching as a kid overall, not just on Disney Channel. Number 1, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Impressive catch, Esteban.
The adventures of these twin brothers was set in a fictional luxury hotel in Boston called the Tipton. Oh, how we all wanted to live like these kids. Growing up, living in my small, quaint suburb life, I was like, damn, I'd live in a hotel. Nowadays, that sounds like the shittiest thing I could possibly do to myself. Each episode followed these two boys along with a gang of friends, hotel employees, and hotel guests as they lived out their troublesome lifestyle adjusting to life living in a hotel. The show quickly became a smash hit after debuting with a Disney Channel record-breaking viewer count on the pilot episode. This show lasted the typical 4 seasons that most Disney Channel shows did before having a finale that based around the twins setting sail on 7 seas high, leading us right into The Sweet Life on Deck. The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody was one of the few Disney Channel shows with extremely memorable episodes like The Ghost of 613 or the 2 crossover episodes that were done with other Disney series. It remained a fan favorite among viewers and for good reasons. It was funny, it had heart, lovable characters, interesting plot lines, and most of all, we had Arwen.
It's not a club, it's a sub. Meatball marinara. You want some?
Have a question, comment, or concern? Or maybe you just want to know more about upcoming videos? Check me out and follow me on Twitter for exclusive updates and more.